So I have no idea this full estate robbery and trust fund robbery and everything has been done years ahead of time, right? And so anyway, I go to subdivide my land in 2007 and they start orchestrating the fraud then, right? And so I subdivide my tract G into 2 lots and that's what happens. And so they make you sign this owner's statement at the very beginning of that under MSB 2705045, saying you are the owner, right? And I said privately owned land and that I am the owner, Kim LG. That's even Kevin's handwriting right there, okay? And they have me fill this out and I go in to subdivide my land. Well, I have no idea that they're going to take my land, they're going to put it on a different plat to conflict the title to prevent my sale. This will go along with the future abduction. I can't sell my property even now. Nobody in Alaska will appraise it, and Loan Depot validated that. They said, we can't find anybody in Alaska to appraise your property. So we're going to send it to our underwriters, and they did. And they came back and they said, your residential property has a full commercial title on it. Well, after I subdivide my tract into tracts G1 and G2, the city of Wasilla shows up at my house.
Did everything.
And they tell me that my land is now residential. It's no longer commercial. So then I go to Loan Depot to get a loan, and they tell me, no, it's commercial. It's just got a residential plat at the top, but underneath there's a full commercial title on that property. We can't give you a loan. We only do residential. So they wasted my time, and they never thought anybody would validate that. That's why when divorce started, they wanted the property appraised, and they kept saying it was premarital. But what did Kevin know? He knew he took my premarital land behind my back, and he recorded it on another plat to conflict the title to prevent my sale, to target me and location for the eventual kidnapping and abduction of me and my son, right? So what are you doing when you're dragging Will out of the house with fraud? You're kidnapping him too. So you're kidnapping a special needs man. Okay, so that's me, and I live here on tract G2. Okay, so Kevin went over, he used a company check from that account I showed, and he took my premarital land over to the Mat-Su Bureau, and he recorded my land onto this plat using his company check 1014, receipt number 2943662, right? And so what does it say on those checks? And they're going to even record the plat. To further hide it, they're going to mail the plat back to him when they are done recording it, right? So anyway, and it says, note, the original recorded document will be returned from microfilm in 4 to 6 weeks. So who do they mail the plat? The owner? No, because they don't want the owner knowing what they did. So they're going to mail it to Kevin, right, in his business, and it's going to come addressed to Alaska Birch Syrup Company. They know I'm not going to open it and look it. I find it eventually, and I'm like, how did my land get on that plat? You know, and I put everything together but that, and then my deceased mother leads me to this receipt showing Kevin recorded it, and it's in her box of documents. So she knew about it. And I was right, because I was pissed at her because of this. I knew it happened, but I didn't have any evidence of it. But I knew exactly what happened. I knew that they did this to me behind my back. Privately owned, and that I am the owner. So what did they do? They just totally ignored my rights, just like they did all the way through this whole thing.
So they did everything they're not supposed to do, right? They targeted us in location. I haven't been able to get an appraisal on the property for over 20 years because nobody in Alaska would appraise it, and I won't sell it first until they can go ahead and give me an offer. My deal is I am not selling it till I get an appraisal on this property. Okay, that's the deal. And I wrote the realtor and told her that. So you can look all you want. It's like it can say 650, but if that appraisal comes back and it says it's a whole lot higher, I'm not selling it for 650. I'll tell you that. So we were targeted in location, and then our Wi-Fi and everything was broken into, and they forwarded files out of my computer. You can even see the files they created, and they forwarded documents. They put it in and then said forward file. I've never forwarded a file. The IP address of the transfer of that information would prove that. So yeah, They gang stalked us right here on my property. They broke into my well, and then they made it run 24 hours a day. They forwarded files out. They parked next to the house, and they broke into my Wi-Fi, erased text messages on my phone saying I didn't do visitation, and then dragged me into court. And then I was able to recover all the text messages, which was pretty miraculous. God guided me to get the text messages that they erased on the computer, and I submitted them to court to show they lied. But they knew that they were committing perjury. He didn't file suit in his legal name. It was all done to hurt me and my son, my special needs son, who was 13 when they started this fraud, right, against us. And yeah, you know, so it's just, and then yeah.
You're in the Middle East. You're American too.
I'm a human with unique gifts, so I'm going to get led to that crap, right? And you know, we just have a higher vision. You know, we have a higher vision. That's the whole thing. And so we're going to get led to things. And I'd say that's mainly it. We have I wouldn't even say a higher intelligence. It's just a higher vision. You know, we can see things that most people can't see, and then put it together. So anyway, so that's what happened, right? And then the one little piece of information or one little bit of discovery leads to thousands of more, you know, bits of information, you know. So anyway, that's how it works. But anyway, yeah, we were set up, we were targeted. First they did the real estate fraud to target us in location, and that's why nobody to this day will appraise the property. I'm not selling it without a true appraisal. If I say 650, it comes back and it's 1,500,000, you'll pay 1,200,000. You know, that's the way it's going to be. So anyway, I'll lower the price, but I ain't lowering it by $500,000 or $600,000. So anyway, and I just told the realtor I wanted an appraisal, and if everybody's going to ignore me, you're not going to get your way just because you're going to ignore me. I wrote and said I need an appraisal. But nobody in Alaska, as Loan Depot proved, nobody in Alaska would appraise this property because they knew that the fraud was done to it, right? So anyway, and basically wanting me to lose it, I think, with unpaid property taxes and other manipulation that they did, right? So anyway, and I have been very wary, you know, about renting one of my places because
to an op, yeah,
because of their
gang stalking.
You know, I mean, my God, they broke into my computer. They sent ops in. They sent people to date me. So I just stopped. Yeah, I'm 8 years celibate. It's worked out for me. I
healed me.
I like it.
Yeah.
It makes my life uncomplicated. It doesn't drain my energy, and I can use it to heal myself.
Yep.
Because we heal people. You know, I mean, it's just a healing gift, you know. So I ended up healing myself and healing myself every day. You know, and then I heal Will, and Will loves me back. So then that energy comes back to me. It's not a drain, you know, it's not a drain to me. So anyway, yeah, it's been a real nightmare, definitely. Who is this? So anyway, it's been a real nightmare, you know, definitely living the dream in Alaska. And I would never, if I would have known that this was like a 666 community, 666 state, I had been gone a long time ago. I didn't know it was this diabolical. I didn't know it was this 666, but it definitely is. I mean, if you are targeting citizens, you know, on location, getting ready to abduct them, if you are breaking into their internet, I mean, that's proof. They broke in, they erased my text messages, then went right into court and filed, I did not do visitation, right?
Knowing I did.
And then God leads me to all of those. Oh, look how that light's coming down into me. That's how it works. You're seeing it right there. Anyway, yeah, living the nightmare in Alaska. Yeah, yeah, it's time to leave, right? And but I don't want to leave because you guys ripped me off on my property and targeted me. You know, and Loan Depot came back and said, it's really weird. We can't find anybody in Alaska to appraise that property because you did fraud to it. That's why you targeted me for this abduction and kidnapping. Me and my son. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they did. So, anyway, Then they start serving writs this year because I'm 65 and they're getting me up to that age, right? On purpose. Whole time they've purposely hidden this name from court, right? Kevin Elgie, back in 2012. I never used the name Elgie on anything. No. But I got an employee identification number at Alaska Snow Removal in 2012. But no, I never used that name on anything. So they go out of their way to hide that name all the way through court. So it's entered on a decree, the non-use legal name, and it's entered on judgment in a non-legal name. So anyway, this is actually 12/6/2024. Last year, they're coming to take my whole home away, my estate. Remember, when you get a divorce, you're supposed to have an equal division of property. Well, this shows, no, this was a home abduction. There was no, division of, planned on division of property. They planned on stealing the pension, the 302 operating engineer's pension, and the entire estate with fraud, right? With false identity. For me, for him, they were just doing that. So on December 6, 2024, Kevin's attorney that is the trustee that holds a false guardianship and conservatorship for me and stuff, they've decided that they're going to, abduct me from the home this last year. So I report they're not serving me writs legally, only by email. Why? Because, well, they don't want me signing anything if I have a false guardianship and conservatorship on me. At this law firm, she can't serve me writs by legal process, and she doesn't, not one. So anyway, she goes on to say, though, that I have an amended judgment. Well, judgment's not entered in his legal name, and he's hid his legal name all the way through court. Decree's not entered in that name. Nothing. There's one document in the whole courthouse that was entered in his legal name, and they go on to ignore it and pretend like it's not there, and they ignore his legal name, and Vital Records is the one that told me you have to have a decree issued in that name for a legal divorce. This isn't a divorce. This is a whole estate robbery, including pension, retirement of mine. It's including my home, my land. It's including me, my person, and it's including a trust fund. And so they were just going to come here. They were going to kidnap me and my special needs son, put us in a white van and say, hey, yeah, we're still in your whole entire estate. We got false guardianship and conservatorship papers on you, and that's what we're doing, and like I said, God and the other guy, Diablo, he doesn't like it either. Yeah, they've been fighting over my soul for a very long time. Yeah, neither one of them really want me disappearing, I'll tell you that. And I can't tell you why. It's just part of being an earth angel, But anyway, I'm devoted to Jesus Christ, and he definitely, the other guy knows that, but he's always hoping. So anyway, he didn't like needing to mess with either. I can't tell you why. I really can't. So anyway, she says, I'm coming here to take your 2 rental cabins, which are these are all on track G2. I have a house here. I live with my special needs son, William L.G. Afonzi, which many of you trafficking assisters know. And do not think I'm not all onto your games, because I am quite aware. But you can't hate everybody in the world that participated. Alaska'd be a very lonely place if you did that. So I forgive you. Yeah, I do. So anyway, on my property, there's the 2 rental cabins. There was both my vehicles. I did sell one. Hot tub and track G2. This is all track G2. And it has my home that I live with my dog and my cat, both my dogs and my cat. Okay, and then she says on here, this was the real fraud. Now, if this property, you got to imagine too, we've already had a divorce. They've already done a property distribution. So why is this attorney for a $39,000 judgment coming to take all the rest of my property, including inside contents? Because she's got a false guardianship and conservatorship in me. There is no way she could present this to a judge that didn't know what was going on. He'd say, you're crazy. Why are you taking all this woman's property? Why are you doing that for a $39,000 judgment? You can't do that. It's against the law. This property would go to auction anyway. We'd take our $39,000 and she'd get the rest for the property. But she's like, what saying? Because she knows she doesn't have me living here. So what is she saying on this document? She's got a false guard. Now imagine she's got a false guardianship and conservatorship on me. She's coming to take all this property. My whole life. She's taken my whole life and my son away from me. Right? And she's saying no exemption for this property, no exception. We, your primary residents, would have an exemption. Why? She said, one vehicle. You're going to let your incapacitated schizophrenic patient drive? Because that's what I believe they have me diagnosed with, this schizophrenia. Right? My Kim LG Alfonsi. I'm Kim LG. They created an identification for me from my mother's inheritance, from the will. On the will, she calls me Kim LG Alfonsi. In obituary, they call me Kim Alfonsi because they're helping my husband abduct me and kill me, right? Not primary residence and outside exemptions. Why isn't it my primary residence? Because they have me with a false guardianship and conservatorship living at another location. Would this be fair and equitable? They're taking my house away. They're taking my cars away. They're taking all the inside contents of my house away. And what does this sound like? This sounds like we've got probate and guardianship documents on you, and we're taking your whole entire life away. And we've got a nice insurance policy on you, too. So we're going to murder you. That's what that says. Okay, so anyway, that's it. She sends it to me by email, and I get a hold of the police, and I'm like, hey, she's not serving me writs by legal process. They're not sent by certified restricted mail or registered process server. She can't serve me by certified restricted mail because she has me as an incompetent patient or incompetent person with a fraudulent guardianship and conservatorship. So she can't serve anything by certified restricted mail. And she starts from the date of December 6th, 2024, the date of this writ, up to March of when I get a hold of the police of the next year. So she actually does it in September. So September, October, November, December, January, February, for 6 months, she will not serve me any writs by certified restricted mail or registered process server. For 6 months, this attorney won't follow the law and serve me writs that way. But, I guess if they do a little bit of maneuvering around this next few months, then they can do it again, right? So anyway, so that's it. So what does the officer come back and tell me this year? He still has a hyphenated name. What were they hiding all the way for the last 10 years? He had a hyphenated name. And, the case went through the Supreme Court and the whole thing. So we know that's what they were going to do. They were going to show up at my house. They were going to kidnap me. They were going to take all the inside assets, outside assets, and the whole thing. And I was supposed to be compliant because they'll show up with an officer and they'll say, get in the van. Or one time they had a cleanup committee. So I don't know if they were just going to kill me on the spot right in front of my kid and drag me out. I have no idea. He doesn't let me see that far. And yet, both Diablo and God both like us. Yeah, and I'm sorry, my light affects your demons, but when you're an earth angel, both those suckers, not suckers. God is not a sucker. the other guy, he wants me definitely. Yeah, he does. But he doesn't want you hurting me. I'll tell you that. There's been way signs of that too. So they say that we have an unusual gift, and even him, will come to our rescue at times, which is really, really weird. But it's God. It's mainly God. Always God. But, no. Like they say, the angels love us, the demons respect us. So, anyway, it's a really weird gift. I don't know. I don't like it. He likes me. I don't like it. It's like having a really weird freak like you. It's like, that freak likes me. I don't like it, God. God's like, I'm with you, But, I don't like it. So anyway, that's the name. He was hiding all the way through court, denying that he ever used it. But he's got an employee identification number there. And so they were hiding it from the 302 operating engineers because they knew, like child support could never find him because he filed suit in a non-legal name. And he knew he could easily work under that name too and never get caught, right? So they were going to steal my trust fund. They were going to steal me. They were going to do the whole thing. And both the dark and the light like us. So they don't like it. And we're supposed to be healing people. Yeah, no, the other freak messes with my life constantly. But definitely for some reason doesn't, want me for whatever reason. I don't know. I can't really tell you the ins or the outs. I can tell you Jesus Christ loves me. I can tell you that. The other one, I don't know why. He has shown protective aspects. Yeah, definitely. Really weird. I mean, just weird. Weird, strange. I don't know. I mean, there has been some really weird mystery about me. I don't know what it is. So anyway, he continued on to use this name. But I want out of your state, Satan. You can have Alaska. I don't want it. So even into clear 2021, he used that name, right? That he hid all the way through court. And finally, a police officer validates that and, and tells me, he is using that name still to this day, and so anyway, I know I have it in here. Where are you at? Okay, so then I get a hold of the police this year because I said, she's not serving me writs by legal process. They stopped the writs, and then I turned it in for a trust fund robbery. I don't really, I'm so terrified, and I can't even comprehend somebody pulling up and abducting me as I fling my gun out and start shooting like the Wild West. Like, okay, I guess I gotta do it. Anyway, because you ain't abducted me and kidnapping me with fraudulent documents, because I will be, if you're going to kill me anyway, what do I have to lose? I might as well kill you. So anyway, good afternoon, Kim. I was assisted to assist Officer Gebert with going through all the documents you have provided. I have gone through all of the documents carefully. I have not identified anything that would be able to be charged under Alaska statutes. I can show you. I understand there are many discrepancies in which name he has used on multiple documents, but with his hyphenated name and his using one of his names, none of those would meet the criminal level. I know there are lots of other items you point out in the documentation, and I have looked at them all. Unfortunately, we will be unable to assist with any criminal investigation in this situation. I do encourage you to get a trusted lawyer and have them assist with the civil side for all the monetary loss you have incurred. Now, imagine you're stolen from. They're still in your trust fund. They're gang stalking you on your property. You can't rent to people. You have a place to rent, but you're terrified to do it because of the gang stalking. And I'm sorry, I'm sure this is not what you wanted to receive. I wish you the best of luck in your pursuit of a fair outcome. They know they're talking to a 65-year-old woman. I don't like how he just says Kim. I wish he would have said Kim LG, but that's okay. And then I tell him, this is an identity fraud case, that the trust fund happens to be a part of. That is what truly needs to be reported, is identity theft and fraud. And I have given you the documents of proof. That is why they will not serve writs by registered process server or by certified restricted mail. That is why they didn't even serve divorce papers as required with. I don't say, hey, they're going to kidnap me and abduct me, but I never hear back from him when I write that to him. And they have the documents for 3 months. He does see a theft. He's not saying I don't see any theft. He says, I'm not going to do anything criminally. You'll have to handle this civilly. They know I don't have any money because they know they stole all the money from me, from that trust fund, and from other resources. So, but what did they validate? He was still using this name, right? And he purposely hid it through court and denied he ever used it on anything legal. So he said, that is not my legal name in the affidavit on 6/15, 2000, actually not 15, 2019. It was 7/15, 2019. He writes an opposition swearing in the opposition and does an affidavit that he has never used that name on anything legal. And there's all these legal documents around with that name on it. Bruce Construction, W2, Alfonsi LG. So he knows he's lying, The police validate, yep, that's the name, and they refuse to give me a decree in that name because this is a whole estate robbery and human trafficking and kidnapping. Were they going to kill me in front of Will? Do they have life insurance on my son? I don't know. You know, I just know they're diabolical. And just like what I wrote, this is the affidavit where he swears he has never used the name Kevin Alfonsi LG on anything legal. And he had it just for like a couple of weeks. When we know he's lying. So anyway, he does that. I'm not even going to go through it because I just know I have an affidavit with him notarized and signed, and he's lying in it, right? But they don't care because this is a whole senior citizen abduction, estate robbery, and trust fund robbery, and pension robbery, 302 operating engineer pension robbery. And this was the motion to amend decree that stated what the name was. This is the only document in the whole entire court case that states his legal name, and they still look at you like you're BS crazy and go, yeah, we're not talking about that. We know what his legal name is. We're doing a home abduction of you. We got a false conservatorship and guardianship. We're still in your whole life. So they had to do this on this one document, and it was the motion to amend decree of divorce and restore plaintiff's maiden name. They had to do it on this document to steal 302 operating engineer documents in this name. They hid the pension from me in that name. So they hid and stole half the pension I'm entitled to. It's in that underlying name right there. And they hid it from me, right? So they stole pension money. They stole everything. 1, 2, 3, 4. They never issued a decree in that name. And they're acting like they did because they're going to send this document in with falsified qualified domestic relations order into the 302. And then they're going to steal the pension from me, and they have. So, yeah, we're destitute. They did it on purpose for the home abduction. So what I did write, I call this the state, the 666 state. This is Satan state. It is, too. I see nothing godly except for the natural beauty of Alaska and Alaska natives. There is nothing else godly about this place. it's like 666. They made it a 666 state. They took this beautiful land and made it a 666 state. So it said Alaska is not the Lone Star State. It's the biggest 666 state in the whole United States. They target us first with real estate fraud for our future abduction and kidnapping. Kevin records my premarital land onto another plat to orchestrate this fraud and lock me in position. He uses his company check to do so. That company and him are not an owner. So why was he allowed to do this to my premarital property? No appraisals on this property were done, as no appraisal company would appraise it for divorce, knowing the fraud done to it, and they were going to do the abduction. Yeah, they're realtors. There's people around that knew we were going to get abducted. That's why I call it the 666. Just watch Rosemary's Baby, and you're watching everybody. The whole town knew. Loan Depot verified that fraud, as they could find no appraisal company in Alaska to appraise the property. They sent it to their underwriter to find out why. They verified the fraud done to it to prevent my sale, target me in location for the coming abduction. Purposely conflicting the title, Loan Depot told me my residential property had a full commercial title on it, hidden under a residential plat. Yeah. So that's what they did. Yeah. So yeah. It does remind me of, just go watch Rosemary's Baby. Yeah, the whole town reminds me of that. Not nuts, but there's very, very nice Christian people. But yeah, there's a big cult up here too.